Hello everyone, Danny here today to talk to you about the audiobook Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. In this review, I am going to cover the content, the structure, the purpose of the book, the job that the narrator does narrating the book. I will also let you know if I found any mature content, stuff that parents should be aware of, such as language or sexuality or anything like that. However, before I get started, if like me, you love audiobooks. However, you have a hard time picking good books, and you got some out there you're not quite sure that you want to take a chance on. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Down in the comment section, let me know about the book. Also, let me know about any books you love and would love to share with other people. I will listen to the book. I will do a review. I will post a review. And you all can take it from there. Now, to the book. I got this book as an Audible daily deal. It was not something that I would have picked out on my own. And I can honestly say it was worth the price that I paid for it. I don't know that I would have quite considered this book to be worth the cost of a credit. It was a very good book. I don't mean to knock the book at all. It was surprising in all of the different areas that it went to. So the purpose of the book is just like it says in the title, to help you or I live a longer, happier life. It starts off talking about blue zones and about how Okinawa is one of the top 5 blue zones. And this idea of Ikigai comes from Japan. And it's the idea of, we in the West would think, the idea of finding your purpose and then pursuing your purpose. And that's kind of it. But it's also kind of the idea of making what you do your purpose. They talk about not retiring, and that's something that I've always said. When friends and family start talking about retiring, I have no intention of ever retiring. In the Jewish culture, in the biblical culture, there's no such thing as retirement. God calls on us to be productive members of society, and so I'd never planned on retiring. Doesn't mean I plan on driving truck until I'm 100 years old. There are other things that I can evolve and turn into. That is scriptural and biblical, and that is also part of Ikigai. These octogenarians, that they talk to and they interview, they're not 120 years old still working at the factory doing something else, but they are still being productive, and being productive and finding a way to be productive is definitely a part of it. The book addresses many different subjects, and at the start of each chapter, it doesn't always do a really good job of explaining how that ties into the idea of Ikigai. Don't give up though. By the time the chapter is over, they do come around and tie it in. And there's one chapter in particular I'm thinking of. So when I say it approaches a lot of different subjects, it has a chapter on Viktor Frankl's therapy and the therapeutic method that he created. I cannot remember the name of it, I'm sorry. But the therapeutic method that he created and pioneered based on his experience as a prisoner of war and in the Jewish concentration camps, and comparing and contrasting that to modern psychology. And it's just a big, long chapter going back and forth, comparing and contrasting the two. And you're thinking, okay, I can kind of see how this ties to Ikigai, but what does this have to do with the Japanese and Japanese culture and Ikigai and everything like that? Well, then at the end of the chapter, he brings it in and he ties it in. There's 2 authors of this book. They tie it in, and you do get to see, okay, this is actually very relevant to it. They address nutrition. And while they list a bunch of different superfoods that they eat in Okinawa, the biggest thing that I really got out of that was the idea of eating until you're 80% full. And really, they talk about octogenarians, not just from Okinawa, but from all over, and some common traits that you see. And one of those common traits that you see is that they don't overeat, that they tend to follow that 80% full rule. And you'll have to listen to the book to find out what they mean by the 80% full rule. They talk about exercising and extreme exercising versus steady, low impact exercising. I mean, the thing they stress the most, the two exercises that they most recommend in this book, and they recommend them time and time and time again in the book: gardening and walking. Those are the two. I learned some very interesting things in that chapter, things even with everything that I've listened to and everything that I've studied, things I didn't know about the impact of sitting. Like, for instance, sitting for 90 minutes. What happens to your metabolism after 90 minutes of sitting? And there were quite a bit of things that I did learn in the book about that. They spend some time breaking down yoga, Tai Chi. You know, they even give a specific Tai Chi exercise, taking you step by step by step through it. And the different types of different exercises like that. They never talk about running. They never talk about weightlifting, any of that. It's more like Tai Chi, yoga, walking, gardening, stuff like that. They end up with a summary where they go back and the top 10 rules of living an Ikigai life, the things that they got from their research into these areas. They spend a good bit of time talking about Stoicism and even bringing Greek philosophy and Greek and Roman Stoics into the book. So when I say they go all over the place, if you're expecting this book like me, I expected the book to be focused solely on Japan and Japanese culture. So I was not expecting them to bring in all of the different cultures that they bring in. But even with all of those different cultures they bring in, they do 100% of the time tie it in to Ikigai and bring it relevant to that Japanese idea and kind of Japanese culture, which is actually really nice. You don't end up at the end of the book feeling like this is just an isolated Eastern idea. And there are authors who write books. And when you're done with the book, you're left with the feeling that either the author has, one, uncovered a lost secret that no one else has discovered, it's been lost for the ages, or the author's full of crap. One or the other. That's not what you end up feeling like this. You end up feeling like, okay, what they've done is they've taken a whole bunch of different cultures and time frames and shown how they all tie in to this. And so it's not some lost secret, never heard of thing where you're either going to take the author's word that they found it or believe that they're full of crap. You're left without any doubt that the authors know what they're talking about and that their content is relevant to you and to today. They do give steps to take through different parts of the book. If you want to incorporate Stoicism, here are steps to take. You know, if you want to find purpose or bring purpose into your meaning, discover flow. They spend a lot of time talking about flow and its relevance to Ikigai. If you want to get into the flow and learn to get into the flow, here are steps to take. The narrator is a narrator that I've heard narrate many books of this sort, and he does a great job, as he does 100% of the time. There's no mature content in the book that I can think of whatsoever. I don't remember a single bit of language, anything of that nature whatsoever. They get into a bit of Eastern philosophy and Eastern religions, but it's not done in a way that promotes those religions or feels like they're trying to evangelize you into those religions. It's just explaining the mindset of the people in that culture. So it's more educational. So even if you're someone who, has very strict, firm religious beliefs, I don't believe you would be offended by that portion of the book, because it's simply educating and explaining. It's not actually recruiting. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you like my channel, subscribe. Turn on notifications. Questions, comments, feedback, book recommendations. That's what the comment section is for. But most importantly, no matter what else you do today, make sure that today you listen to at least one really good audiobook. And I do recommend Ikigai. Thank you.